Hello, thank you for joining us today for the McKinney-Vento Subgrant Quarterly Reimbursement Request tutorial. My name is Zach Stumbo, and I serve as the State Homeless Coordinator here at the Kentucky Department of Education.
And I'm Jennifer White, Homeless Education Program Consultant. We're excited to walk you through the process of submitting quarterly reimbursement requests, or QRRs, for your McKinney-Vento subgrant. Whether you're new to the process or just need a refresher, we hope today's session will be helpful.
Let's begin with a quick reminder about what was included in your approved Request for Application, or RFA. As part of your subgrant responsibilities, you're required to submit quarterly reimbursement reports that include MUNIS financial data for documentation. These reports must align with your approved budget, and they need to be both detailed and timely. Monitoring and compliance are also key components. All subgrant recipients will be monitored using a KDE developed document available on our KDE website. And additional monitoring may occur through desk audits. These QRRs help support KDE's overall monitoring responsibilities. Please keep in mind, as mentioned in the RFA, failure to comply with reporting, monitoring, or technical assistance requirements may disqualify districts from future McKinney-Vento application cycles. Also, projects ending with more than 15% unspent funds may be ineligible for renewal for 1 year.
Let's take a look at the financial quarters and their corresponding deadlines. The first quarter is July, August, and September, and these are due by October 31st. The second quarter, October, November, December, these are due by January 31st. The third quarter, January, February, March, and these are due by April 30th. And the fourth quarter, April, May, and June, which are due by July 31st. QRRs are due at the end of the month following the end of a quarter. We recommend setting calendar reminders to help you ensure timely submission.
Here's how the QRR process works. First, the LEA submits the McKinney-Vento expense QRR form along with MUNIS documentation by email to KDE, and be sure to CC me, Zach Stumbo. KDE Finance prepares the QRR for programmatic review. Third, KDE programmatic staff review the request for allowability. Fourth, if everything looks good, it's recommended for approval. 5, if additional documentation is needed, I will reach out to the LEA. And last, once approved, KDE Finance processes the payment to the district.
Here's some important dates for QRRs. So some dates to keep in mind for each subgrant cycle. 316K for school year 2023-2024. The obligation date of September 30th, 2025. QRRs November 15th, 2025. 316L for school year 2024 through 2025 with an obligation date of September 30th, 2026. The QRRs are due November 15th, 2026. 316M is for school year 2025 through 26 with an obligation date of September 30th, 2027. And these QRRs are due November 15th, 2027. And 316N for school year 2026 through 2027 with an obligation date of September 30th, 2027. And the QRRs are also due on November 15th, 2027.
To submit a QRR, use the McKinney-Vento expense QRR form. You can request this form from KDE Finance by emailing either Lindsay Ronca or Thelma Hawkins. Submit the completed form to Lindsay and CC me. Make sure your report aligns with your approved budget and includes detailed descriptions Avoid general terms like supplies or materials. Instead, include brief narratives or itemized lists, and please submit your report in a clean, typed format.
Let's look at some examples. First, here's an inadequate QRR section. As you can see, there's no context, no vendor names, and no descriptions. This would likely be returned for clarification.
Now here's an adequate example. The LEA listed employee names and subtotals per type. Assuming this matches the approved budget, it would likely be approved.
And here's another adequate example. This one includes vendor names, subtotals, and context. Again, assuming alignment with the approved budget, this would be acceptable.
To help determine allowability, the National Center for Homeless Education has developed a use of funds tip sheet. It's a great resource for evaluating whether expenses are reasonable and necessary. Also, Kentucky regulations like 702 KAR 3220 and 704 KAR 7090 may impact allowability. If you have specific questions, feel free to email me.
As a reminder, federal regulations require that all expenditures must meet the RAND criteria. They must be reasonable, costs are not excessive, and follow sound purchasing practices. Allocable, expenses directly support the program's intent. Necessary, items or services are essential to the program, and documented. LEAs must be able to show how the expenses meet these criteria.
If you need to amend your budget, work with me to complete the KDE budget amendment form. Email me for the form and send a draft pre-approval letter before submitting to KDE Finance. Here's how the amendment process works. Make sure you get a current copy of the KDE budget amendment form from me. This has all of the written directions that you will need to follow. Send a draft of the amendment to me for pre-approval processing. If the amendment is pre-approved, you will be asked to send it to KDE Finance, care of Lindsay Ronca. If it is not pre-approved, I will work with the district to address the required elements. KDE Finance will provide a receipt of the amendment to the district and to me. Fourth, you will document the amendment and update Munis to reflect the changes. Be sure to keep the amendment email chain for documentation.
Let's discuss some important things to remember when requesting an amendment. First, the budget entries in Munis should mirror the approved application for the grant. The amendment process is designed to allow KDE to review changes in order to ensure they are reasonable, allocable, and necessary. Amendments can be made at any point in the year. Remember, amendments are required when funds are reallocated, activities change significantly, there's misalignment between Munis and the approved application.
Additionally, I would like to emphasize that amendments are required whenever substantial changes for plans or items are required, when any item over $5,000 or substantial change requires an amendment. And lastly, when in doubt, please reach out and ask. Lastly, the amendment process requires sufficient time for KDE staff to review the requests.
If you have any questions or need support, please don't hesitate to contact us.
You can reach me at my email below, zachary.stumbo@education.ky.gov.
And I'm available at jennifer.white@education.ky.gov.
Thank you again for joining us today. We appreciate your commitment to supporting students experiencing homelessness, and we're here to help you navigate the reimbursement process successfully.
Have a great day, and we look forward to working with you.